Hi everyone, welcome to another episode with me, Living Free Ashley. Today we are talking more cheese. I started experimenting around with making my own homemade cheese only a couple of videos ago when I tried making the world's best mozzarella. And it was a pretty good attempt, but I think I can play around with it and make it even better. And this one that we're playing around with today is a herbed cashew cheese. And it comes from my friend Carmen. So I met Carmen, I want to say like 8 or 9 years ago when we were working on a web series together. Shout out to the runner. It was a really good time. She was doing my makeup and the other cast's makeup, and we've just kind of kept in touch here and there, seeing each other in the industry and out of the industry. And then lately on Instagram, she's been posting a lot about fitness and about plant-based recipes. So within the last year or so, she's gone to a mostly plant-based diet and has gone on this crazy fitness journey, and you should check her out. She is looking good and fit and eating all of this awesome food, and she's Instagramming about it, and that's how this cheese came to be. So she was playing around with this cashew cheese, and her partner, I believe, is a chef, so they can kind of like work on these recipes together. And I saw it in her Instagram stories and it looked so good. And I messaged her and I was like, hey, what's the recipe? And can I make a video out of it? So she said yes. And so this was my first attempt at playing around with this cashew cheese and using agar just in a little bit of a different way than I used it in the matzo video. And it makes me think that if I use it this way in making the matzo, then the matzo will turn out even better to give it that texture. So anyway, I won't talk anymore. I'll just get right into the ingredients and how to make the cashew cheese. So for the ingredients, you need half a cup of cashews soaked in hot or boiling water for 30 minutes and then rinsed and drained, half a cup of cold water, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of basil, and 1 teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, 1 teaspoon of pure maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, 1.5 teaspoons of cornstarch. You also need an additional half cup of water and 1.5 teaspoons of agar. You'll also need a small dish that's been greased really well. So to start, add the cashews, half a cup of cold water, salt, basil, oregano, granulated garlic, maple syrup, lemon juice, and cornstarch into the blender and blend until thick and creamy. And then you can set that aside. Add the remaining half cup of water to a small pot, as well as the agar, and bring to a boil. Add in the blended cashew mix and bring back to a boil, whisking continuously. Once it's thick and glossy, transfer to the dish and smooth it out as best as you can. Place in the fridge for at least an hour or overnight until it is nice and firm. So I left my cashew cheese in the fridge overnight, and you can see how nice and firm it is. All you need to do is loosen up the sides a bit and then flip it over and help wiggle it out, and it'll stay in a nice form. You can see here that it's nice and firm, but it's also soft and spreadable. I mean, pretty easy, right? It's all pretty simple ingredients, and I couldn't believe the texture of the cheese. It's so nice and firm, yet you can spread it easily on a cracker or something like that. I think I'm gonna toss it a lot in my salads just to give like that extra creamy zing a little bit. And speaking of zing, I found the flavors in this to be a little bit on the garlicky side, which is amazing if you love garlic. But for me, I like these kind of cheeses a little bit more on the tangy, citrusy side. So I think I'm gonna play around the next time I make it with upping the lemon juice in it and maybe throwing in a bit of nutritional yeast too for that cheesy flavor, and just kind of seeing how that turns out. But I think this is a really great cashew cheese base to start with. And then it's up to you to play around with your herbs and your spices and your citrus and kind of get that perfect flavor for yourself. I'd say even throw in some like cayenne or paprika if you like a little spice. But there's so many ways you can go with it, but this is a really, really great base. So thank you, Carmen, for first playing around with this and then letting me play around with it and make a video for it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing more of your recipes and your menus and everything and your workouts that you post on Instagram. So it's been great to reconnect with you again and kind of see your journey. So there we go. Thank you again for watching another episode with me, Living Free Ashley. Don't forget to subscribe and please like this video if you liked it, and cheers to living free.